Hello, time travelers, and welcome, new time travelers. As always, if you're new to this channel and enjoy learning about history, one event at a time from around the world, then don't forget to hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and turn on all notifications. Without further ado, let's get into it. Today we're going to start out in 1758 when American lexicographer Noah Webster, who was the instrumental in giving American English a dignity and versatility of its own, was born. Now, after the French Revolution began, Marie Antoinette, queen consort of Louis XVI, was targeted by gangsters who, enraged by her extravagance and attempts to save the monarchy, ultimately guillotined her on this day in 1793. In 1813, Napoleon led his troops against an allied force of Austrian, Persian, Russian, and Swedish troops during the Battle of Leipzig. 33 years later, in 1846, William Thomas Green Morton first demonstrated the use of ether as a general anesthetic before gathering of physicians in Massachusetts General Hospital in Boston. 1847 is when English novelist Charlotte Brontë, under the pseudonym of Currer Bell, published Jane Eyre, which became a classic note for giving new truthfulness to the Victorian novel. 1859 is when John Brown, a military alpinist, made his legendary raid on the U.S. arsenal of Harper's Ferry. 10 years later, in 1869, the Schaefer giant was discovered in New York State, originally thought to be a petrified prehistoric man. It was later revealed to be a hoax. In 1888, American dramatist Eugene O'Neill, winner of the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1936, was born. 1916 is when Margaret Sanger, an activist for women's reproductive rights, opened the first birth control clinic in the United States in Brooklyn, New York. 30 years later, in 1946, 10 of 12 defendants sentenced to death at Nuremberg trials, including Joachim von Ribbentrop and Ernest Kaltenbrunner, were executed. Moving on to 1964, when China, eager to join the nuclear race, successfully detonated its first atomic bomb. 4 years later, in 1968, during the award ceremony for the 200 meters race At the Mexico City Olympics, American sprinter Tommy Smith and John Carlos gave a Black Power salute, for which they were later ordered to leave the Games. 10 years later, in 1978, Karol Józef Wojtyła of Poland was elected Pope. He assumed the name John Paul II and was the first non-Italian pontiff in 455 years. A year after the turn of the century, in 2001, the German pharmaceutical company Bayer AG announced it would triple its profit of Cipro, which is the primary antibiotic used to fight thorax. And our final event happened in 2003 when Hungarian boxer Laszlo Papp, who was the first three-time Olympic boxing champion to winning gold medals in 1948, 1952, and 1956, died at the age of 77. And with that, we return to 2024 and our current history. Now let's head over to the animal kingdom for our 65th animal fact. Echidnas are relatives of duck-billed platypuses and have a beak, spikes, a kangaroo-like pouch, and lays eggs. They're small at just 30 to 45 centimeters and are known as spiny anteaters. One of the few egg-laying mammals, Echidnas, lays an egg, a tiny egg in which it is then transferred into a kangaroo-like pouch, where it then hatches. I would honestly hate to have a kangaroo-like pouch. On the note of mammals, let's head into the science lab, where all mammals get goosebumps. When your hair stands on end, tiny muscles contract at each hair's base, which distorts the skin to create goosebumps. This process is called piloceration, and it is present in all mammals. Hair or fur is used to trap and insulating air layer. I know what it, like when I get goosebumps on my arm, I know what that looks like. I'd be curious to see what it would look like if an animal gets goosebumps. With that, if you enjoy learning historical events, one event at a time, from around the world, then don't forget to hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and turn on all notifications. And I'll see you all in the next one.